Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for this professional learning opportunity. I'm Loretta Rupert, the Business Development Coordinator with NCEA, and I will be facilitating this webinar. Just a few housekeeping notes as people are joining. If you have questions during the presentation, please feel free to use the Q&A window. We will monitor the questions and try to answer them in the allotted time. At the end of this session, I will share a link to the online survey and how to receive a certificate of completion for the webinar. Today's webinar, AI and Spirituality, is brought to you by Archangel. Our speakers today are Mia Lazaga, the Chief Evangelist with Archangel, and Rachel Swanson, a Samsung Education Coach. Rachel Swanson is a Samsung Education Coach and has over 20 years of experience in education. Rachel has a master's degree in education, a TED Talk speaker, former Tech Plus Policy Fellow, a Gates Foundation Redesign Challenge Innovator, and a Google for Education educator, trainer, and coach. Mia is the Chief Evangelist for Archangel, focusing on creating impactful internship programs and spreading good news about the company's initiatives. With more than half a decade of experience working with children, Mia is passionate about preparing the next generation with innovative tools while instilling faith-based values in education. This webinar will explore the basics of using AI tools in school and including key principles to consider when using AI. The discussion will then turn to implications of AI within a faith-based community, offering ideas for applying faith values to AI use in school. Before we begin, we'll take a moment of silence and pray together. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, I place my trust in you. In moments of doubt and despair, fill my heart with the light of hope. Grant me the strength to persevere, the courage to face challenges, and the faith to believe in your promises. May your hope sustain me today and always. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Now my pleasure to turn it over to Mia and Rachel.
Thank you so much, Loretta, for that wonderful introduction. I'm very grateful for everyone who's logged in today. She already gave a brief biography of me, so I'm going to go ahead and let Rachel say hi too.
Same. That was a lot. I was trying not to like blush when she kept going on. So thank you for joining us today. And as discussed, we're really excited to dig in on this idea of AI coming from a Catholic faith background or a Catholic faith perspective, and how that can apply to your schools, and how you can make thoughtful decisions about using AI within your school contexts. And so we are going to, we have slides that we'll share with you right now, or we'll share, but we'll also drop in the chat. That way you can, that way you're going to be able to see, or you can actually access the resources as well, because we want this to be interactive. We know that you're a little bit limited in how you can communicate with us. So hopefully you take full advantage of the question and answer option, because we would really like you to be able to try out what we're showing you as we go. Let me drop the link to everybody, I think. Let's see if I can drop it to all of you. We'll see. I don't know if I'm allowed to. If not, we can create a short link, but this might be just to our team.
And for whoever, if you guys can't open the slides, I am going to work with Loretta afterwards to make sure that I can send you the PDF or the PowerPoint version of it. So no worries if you can't open it right now. You just want to be in the moment and listen to us. We're here to help you. Archangel and Samsung have been partners for many, many years now, and we want to be a resource to you. So no worries if the link doesn't work.
Yes. All right, so we've done this part, so you'll see this. So we wanted to just start off and do an overview of just what does it mean to have AI ethics that are coming from a Catholic lens. And so we have a couple of thoughts about that. So the first thing we want to just talk about is just understanding what AI is. I know AI can be, artificial intelligence is really a pretty broad idea. It seems like we see AI is now being baked into pretty much everything. You go to the subway to get a sandwich, and they're like, do you want AI, added, as like one of the condiments, is kind of how it feels right now. And it can be a little overwhelming. And I don't blame people for however they feel about it, right? Like some people are really excited about it. I think that's a small percentage of people. Some people are really nervous about it. I think that's probably a larger percentage of people, and I think with good reason. And then some people are kind of indifferent, or some people are like, I'm gonna wait, like I just am thinking about, I was really hoping MP3s would go away when I was in like high school, college, because I had, the huge case of CDs, and I had invested thousands of dollars in CDs, and the idea that there that would be useless. I was like, maybe MP3s will just go away. They clearly have not. And now I have my Spotify account, and I've come along. But I think it's fair for us to say, hey, any new advancement in technology can be kind of scary. So I wanted to also give a little bit of context about what we're talking about with AI. So when we're talking about AI today, we're talking about using large language models to be able to create resources for you. So that would be things like um, anytime you're asking one of your large language models to write a letter for you, or you're in your email and it crafts a response to an email for you. It can also be a little more involved, like it makes a picture for you or a video for you. Um, all of those would be AI. Now, technically, AI could also be spell check on your computer, but we're kind of advanced from that. We actually call that spell check now. I know some people say that once it's fully integrated into the culture, it has its own name and it stops being AI, and then something else is identified as AI. So, but right now we're really digging in today about those large language models. And some things to keep in mind about those is that they are fed by actual people, right? So they're fed, there's an actual, like if you think about how they're crafted, they are actually being fed by individuals. Like if it's Chat GPT, you've got Sam Altman and his organization, right, is feeding AI information, like it's feeding books and websites and all of these things. And so I think it's important to know and to think through, what is the AI that you're using being fed? Because especially as people of faith, it's really important to understand that it may or may not align with your own belief system. Now, we're going to talk about how we can kind of be thoughtful and get AI to better align with your beliefs. But I think it's really really important to look at the ethical guidelines for the apps that you're using, and to start to think about, how is AI used in your schools, and what are you okay with AI being fed in your schools, and what are you not okay with being fed? And really, like, I know that when we open up like Google Gemini, for example, it gives a terms and conditions, and I, like everyone else, just will scroll and be like, sure, yep, I agree, I agree, right? But it actually is worth taking time to read those, because you'll be surprised sometimes by just how much how much information about yourself or your students, or you're giving away, but also how much you're accepting. So I'm going to pause there. So the first thing that we want to talk about, and really think about when we're using AI in our schools, is just that we have clear ethical guidelines. And we're going to give you a couple of ways that you can do that, but that would be the first thing. And then I'll hand things over to Mia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Rachel, for that. So we're moving on to our second topic, right? Making sure that you're making ethical decisions when you're using your AI. So the root of all of that, especially in Catholic moral teachings, there's a few points, right? We want to protect human dignity first, right? So every person is created in the image of God, right? Or in Latin, we would say Imago Dei, right? And you can never be treated as just a mere data point or a means to an end. So all technology, including AI, must always respect and protect the dignity of rights for every human being. So that's number one, right? And then there's the moral responsibility and the common good. So we know that human freedom entails responsibility, right? Especially as educators and teachers. Rachel and all of you wonderful educators that are in this call know that these tools, even though they seem scary, they've been developed and they're being used to help. It's not something that is meant to instill fear. So we want to use these tools to promote justice, solidarity, and the common good, right? So never to exploit or manipulate or discriminate anyone. And then my last point is truth, transparency, and stewardship, which stewardship is a very important concept for us, especially in our religion. So the pursuit of truth is a Christian obligation, right? Those who design or deploy the AI are stewards of creation, so they must act with honesty and care, ensuring that the AI is serving the truth and doesn't obscure it. So those are the main things that I want you guys to think about when we're talking about these root decisions when using AI for Catholic teaching. And then we'll move on to the last point too. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So now talking about creating and sharing school-wide ethics documents. So you can actually use the AI to help you create some of these documents. And so we want this webinar for everyone who's attending to be more practical and less theoretical. So we're going to go over some fun ways on how to use the AI and how you can shape the thinking of the AI in order to help you create these documents responsibly. Okay. So now I think we have a question for all of you guys, and you can use the Q&A because I don't think you're allowed to use the chat. So can everybody post in the Q&A, maybe a couple of you, what platforms are you currently using? So do you use Google? Do you use Microsoft in your schools? Let me open up the Q&A here so I can see. Okay, I see a Google. Google. Okay, I see lots of Google. And Samsung Tech. Very good. Okay. Wow, you guys are so fast. Okay, Google, ChatGPT, Gemini, Microsoft. Okay, this is awesome. First of all, I love to see that everybody is here and ready to reply. This is good because we actually have a lot of practicality today, right? Like I said, we have some think, pair, shares. So we're going to get together and we're going to work. So seeing that you guys are applying is actually really warming my heart. Okay, so it looks like everybody has, sorry, I'm reading through these. Everybody has their domains that they use, and sometimes they vary. So one point that I want to bring up to everyone is that you don't, Rachel said this beautiful phrase earlier, and it's like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? I want each and every one of you to know that depending on the platform that you're using, there's already an AI that you can use for free for the most part. So if you guys are using Google Education, you have your slides, your docs, etc., that means that you have Gemini available for use to you and you don't have to pay for it. ChatGPT, if you want the premium version, I know that ChatGPT has turned into a verb now, right? Did you ChatGPT that? ChatGPT is another one, but for the premium version, you do have to pay a monthly subscription. So yeah, I'm gonna try and stay away from those today. But if you're using Microsoft, you have Copilot, right? So try to use the AI that already works within the domain that your organization is using, and that will be helpful. I don't know if Rachel has anything to add to that before we move on.
No, I think that's beautifully stated. So, and the activity we're going to do next is actually a way for you to get to know your AI platforms because there are different ways that different platforms are going to respond to your questions. And I think it can be helpful to have a deeper understanding of maybe some of the tones or the bias or the specific features of the AI tools. So I'm loving all of these comments. So please keep the comments coming. Yes, Gemini is a Google product. That's absolutely correct, Tom. And
Yes.
so what we want to do is an activity where we're actually going to be prompting AI, and we kind of made this fun because we are pulling in some Catholic faith ideas, but we want to prompt AI. So what we'd like you to do is choose two different platforms, and so it could be you could choose, ChatGPT, Gemini, you could choose Claude. There's you could choose, let's see, Flint AI, I see here, Grok, there's lots of different ones. So we'd like you to choose two. The two that I have open and that I'm going to use are Google Gemini. That comes included, Copilot would be another one. That comes included with your Google account membership. The free version does. All of these are free. And by the way, one of the major differences between free and paid versions is what the platform is going to do with that information. If you are in a paid version, it is for the most part, keeping your information secure and private within your like kind of little sphere of working with your, with Gemini or Claude or whatever, which means that the model is not learning off of what you're feeding it, right? You're not part of the big large language learning model. So you're basically paying for privacy. If you are using the free version of ChatGPT, which is what I use, then all of the queries and all of the prompts that I'm putting in are being used to continue to train and to teach the large language learning model. So one thing to know is Gemini, if you have a school EDU account, is locked down. So it's compliant with FERPA and COPA laws. And so you are able to, it is not feeding the greater Gemini LLM, but I would still say I would never ever put confidential student information into any AI ever. I know Samsung actually was in the news maybe a year and a half ago because some coders were doing coding and they put in some of their code to ChatGPT to get ChatGPT to, fix some of the bugs and whatnot. And then that code became available to other developers to be able to use, and it was a major security breach. So you just have to know that anything you put into the model, if you're not in a paid version or you're not in the education version, could potentially then be spit out to somebody else across the world for them to use. So just FYI. Okay, sorry. Thank you for that caveat. So what we're going to do is get to know the model. So I'm going to use Gemini and then I'm going to use ChatGPT. So those are the two that I've got open. So hopefully you've had a chance to pick which two platforms you want to try this out on. And then Mia, do you want to tell them what they're going to be doing, or do you want me to?
Yeah, no, of course. So we actually have a few fun prompting activities that we're gonna do for you guys today, but the first one is going to be this prompt example. So you guys can go ahead typing that in. Write a short reflection on the sanctity of life as if you were Pope Francis. Another one that I would also do, if you have it, is now Pope Leo, right? Our newest Pope. So if you want to see the differences and how it responds. For me, I also have my ChatGPT open and Gemini. Through Archangel, we have both platforms as premium. And so in one of them, I've actually uploaded the Catechism of the Catholic Church, the most updated one. And in my Gemini, I did not. So Rachel is showing us right now. Let me see. Yes, perfect. An example of how the AI would answer that prompt. So let's take a look. Let's see here. Let's see. What did it say? My dear brothers and sisters. Perfect. Rachel, do you want to go over this with them so they
Sure.
can take a look?
So it has the reflection over here, and what you'll see is this prompting on the side stays here. So if I want to keep prompting, or if I say make it, like one of my favorite prompts is like, that's too long, make it bullet points, right? Because I don't have time. I find that all AI can be a little verbose in their responses. But my dear brothers and sisters, let's pause for a moment to consider the profound mystery of human life. It is a gift, a sacred trust from God. So you'll hear kind of the language and the cadence of, hopefully, of Pope Francis. Now I'm going to drop this same prompt into ChatGPT. And we'll see how it responds here. So what I'm curious, and feel free to drop in the chat, and Mia, of course, you can give your feedback too. Like right off the bat, what are some of the differences that you noticed in the way that ChatGPT responds versus the way that Google Gemini responds? And absolutely, if you're noticing, if you already have your, you've already done this within your prompting, please, by all means, give your
So-
feedback of like what you're noticing about the tone, because what you're going to start to see is that each one has its own little personality. I mean, not to personify it, but its own personality.
No, it's very true. I see that we have some questions in the chat here. One of them is for later, I would like to see best options for foreign language.
Mhm.
I'm not very familiar with Diffit, Amy, but I do know that Gemini has some really, really great tools for foreign language.
Mhm.
And then Paolo says Catholic Chat and Catfe GPT, I like the play on words there, are both good Catholic AIs. Yes, they are. I've heard really great things about them. And then let's see, moving back to these two options, from what I was able to read, Rachel, the Gemini, to me, based on what I've seen, and I know most of us follow the Pope on Instagram, and they would get little snippets of his speeches and his homilies. I felt like Gemini, at least for the first paragraph that I read, really captured that tone for him. He's very poetic, very warm, very loving, and he would always start his speeches in that way, addressing um everyone as equal as brothers and sisters. So I found that Gemini was better. What do you guys think? Why don't you drop it in the chat? ChatGPT seems more personal.
Mhm.
Oh, Andrea, the chat is disabled, but you can chat to us in a Q&A and we'll happily, I'm going over all of your questions. Chat seems more personal. Yes, Maria, chat did seem a little more personal, but I think for the tone of Francis, at least for me, Gemini felt closer. I see Rachel was also putting one in for Pope Leo.
Mhm.
Magisterium AI did a nice job. Yes, they do a very good job. Yes. Everyone has spelled foreign language. Flint AI is good for language practice. Yes. Flint AI is a very good one for language practice. They seem very similar. Dawn also agrees with me, preferred the tone of Gemini. Guys, this is so great. I'm so happy to see you all just replying here. That it feels like we're all working together on this, and that's just wonderful. So let's take a look now, since Rachel put in Pope Leo's response, to see which one we think is better, or which one we think is closer to Pope Leo's tone. Let's see.
So this is that was Francis, and then now here. It's interesting because chat then put beloved in Christ, did it more like a letter this time, whereas
Yeah.
for Francis it didn't. You're seeing, I think, that more I guess like classically trained, educated, kind of tone, almost the exegesis, like from the beginning the creator has breathed life into into man, the breath of life, like that feels like Leo, right? And from Gemini, venerable brethren and beloved sons, it is our duty as shepherds of Christ's flock. So again, you're going to hear I think a little more formal language in Leo's tone, which I think makes sense too.
Yeah. He's
But I
very
don't know what
formal,
you.
but he speaks so well. I adore him. I have a question in here, Rachel, from Andrea Kirby. Which platform had the catechism uploaded?
Neither of them right now. We haven't.
Not yet.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm gonna put those in later, and I'll show you guys the differences when we get to prompting for your classroom. Right now, we're just doing a little activity so that you guys can all work alongside us.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chat GPT does not seem to know Leo is the Pope, but Gemini did. GPT keeps talking about Leo or switch to Francis. Yeah, that's a pretty accurate description.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Maria, Amy says we'll try Flint for language. Interesting, you're referencing tone of language. Yes, I know that Rachel and I both agree that the tone is very important when using an AI, especially if you guys want to develop your classroom lectures or activities, the tone, it sets the tone, right? Let's see
It
what
totally
Maria
does.
says. Copilot was a lot more formal than ChatGPT, she says. Okay. So you see, but this is good. This is exactly what Rachel and I want you to see, is that every AI has its own little quirks. And depending on the information that you feed it, like Rachel said earlier, you're gonna get a different tone, you're gonna get different information. So this is more so an activity for you guys to get comfortable with using the different platforms and seeing which one works best for you. Because the AI is an assistant for you. Let's see.
Mhm. Samantha has a question here. What's the good of being able to have a response in the voice of a pope? And I think this is where you start to get into in the different platforms, you can start to create like personality profiles. And so like if, for example, I want feedback from AI, but I don't want it to just be general AI feedback that could be coming from anywhere. I want it to be coming from a Catholic perspective, or I want it to be coming from a person that I trust, maybe like a professional or celebrity figure that I trust, somebody whose insights I trust. You can have ChatGPT or Gemini speak to you in those tones, and it's a way to kind of basically filter out some of the voices you may not want to hear. And over time, you can keep asking, you can ask it to save these conversations so that you can keep kind of narrowing in on the exact feedback you want from your AI tool. And that's helpful so that you don't have to keep every time being like, just a reminder, I'm like coming from the Catholic faith and I want you to be giving me, examples and references specifically from that context. It will start to do that automatically. So we kind of circumvented that by just assuming that if it's coming from the Pope, it's going to be coming from the Catholic faith, but you can get pretty specific in how you want the chat to be a resource to you. And of course, like, obviously, like this is just a general activity, but you can be really specific. So you could say like, hey, here's the lesson I will be teaching on, Genesis, on Wednesday in our religion class, and I would like you to give me feedback as if you were cardinal, whatever, and so you can get pretty specific about how you want that feedback, and it can be like almost like a thought partner for you. So these are good questions. So what we did want to kind of quickly discuss too, are you noticing, I think somebody was saying like, seems like chat maybe doesn't know who Pope Leo is, but are you noticing biases and gaps? And I'm curious, for those of you that did use one of the specific Catholic sources like Catholic.chat or CatholicGPT.chat, did you find that the responses had similar tone or had less bias than one of the more, open-ended ones?
So guys, feel free to put your answers in the chat. I love Paolo. Paolo's super active in the chat. These have CCC and pretty much any Catholic sources. These are great. I'm actually going to make a note of these, Paolo, so that when I send out this slide deck, everybody can have these resources too. So we want to share the good, right?
And it's true, you do have to be careful. Just because they're talking in the tone of the Pope, that does not mean that it's actually like sanctified by the Pope. Everything should be vetted always. This is where like you definitely want to not fall into over relying on AI to give you feedback. That can be really dangerous, and we've even seen that in the news recently, that there's been people who have been really harmed by like using AI as a therapist, and it leads them into negative spaces. Yeah, let me see if I can make this visible for you. Yeah, hold on, let me see. So it says this Catholic chat. I don't know if I can.
I am copying and pasting the links that you guys send me.
Yeah, what I'll do is I will put it in it's HTTPS dot or I'll put it in here. https:// so you can get stuff from within the Catechism of the Catholic Church. That's the first one. And then the second one is https://categpt.chat. And this will, of course, so again, when you're thinking about what these are going to be fed, like Catholic documents and resources. So you can assume that they're going to have, without you having to do extra work, they're going to have context from within your faith background.
Looks like Jennifer's asking, if we're incorporating these into our lesson plans, are we able to copy and paste or do we need to reword? I think that's up to you. That's entirely up to you. If you feel comfortable with the output that either AI has used, depending on which one you're using, you can. But I think the main thing to understand here, and I think Rachel would agree with me when I say, is that all of you wonderful educators that are listening, you are the expert in your topic and you know your students best and what's going to work the best with them, right? So depending on the output, if you feel that it's not right, most definitely go in, edit, tweak it. That's what teachers do, right? But if you feel like if it's good and it's gonna impact your students, then you're more than welcome to copy and paste. And we actually do today, we haven't gotten to that point in the slides, but we have a lot of prompts for all of you that you can take home today that you can start using and start playing around on all of the different platforms that you guys have. Carissa, different AI platforms, Catholic ones. Okay, we're gonna put those in the slides for you. Weston says there was a big difference in tone and word choice. Yes, there very much is.
Well, and I put in the magisterium is another one. So hopefully you've seen all of them now. So you have magisterium, you have the CATEGPT.chat. And then you've got the Catholic.chat. So all of those. And then I think there's some really good thoughts. Paulo was saying a good, like the 80-20 rule is often cited as 80% of the work is done by AI, 20% of the oversight and tweaking is teacher. I think that's true. If you go to like Magic School AI is a platform you could use like specifically for teachers. That pops up when you first open it. One of the things that I like to say to people, and I think Andrea, hopefully this gets to what you're saying, is I absolutely think you should have a hard time trusting the output of these, right? We never want to outsource our critical thinking to AI. Like we always want to keep our critical thinking. So as far as like if I just want ideas about like how to structure a lesson and I'm having a hard time with the blank page, AI can be super helpful. But I wouldn't like just copy and paste AI into my lesson plans, not look it over, and then head to class on Monday and think that that's going to go well. Because what I found is that a lot of times like the lesson plans will need materials that I don't have, or they're very boring. So you don't want to outsource and give away your critical thinking to the AI itself. So I think that's super helpful. So we want to give you some prompts that you can use. So we have 10 prompts for you to try, and we're going to kind of just go through them quickly. It is a general prompt, but feel free to tweak these. And prompting can get a little bit tricky. Sometimes you don't get quite the response that you want. And one thing to know is that you can work with your whatever AI tool you're using to create better prompts. Like, hey, I don't like the way that this prompt, like, I don't like what answer it gave me. Can you switch it like this? So you can keep iterating with the prompts. But we have a couple of different prompts for you. Like, think like a fourth grade teacher and design a lesson plan to teach students about whatever topic, right? Complete, and you can have I have here include at least this number of ideas and this number, and focus on specifically this. But you could say like complete at least this number of objectives, or you can say this is the objective. You can get really specific. So you can try that one out. You could also like generate practice problems for your grades. So there's a prompt for that. You can have the different apps create presentations. Some of them will create the presentations for you. Some of them will actually just create the outline, and you can pull that into a different app that creates presentations. And I'll be showing you Canva in a little bit, which is one of the apps that can create presentations for you. You can have it create a study guide to help your students prepare, and we'll show you Notebook LM, which is another option for a nice study guide resource. I'll have Mia kind of share some of the other prompts that you might use.
Yeah, of course. And I definitely want to maybe try one prompt before we move on to the next tool section so that you guys can see.
Yep.
Okay, so we are on prompt number 5 right now. So let's try prompt number 1. Let me see here. Is it, Rachel, is it okay if I share my screen for a second and then
Yep.
we hop back over?
Yep.
Perfect. So let's try, I'm going to use my ChatGPT. Can you guys see my ChatGPT? Okay, so you see I have the catechism here uploaded because I'm not using one of the Catholic AIs that you guys mentioned. We're just going to go with the basic ChatGPT verb, okay? And notice how I said here in the prompt, please use this document to gather information for all prompts moving forward and store to memory. That's a little tip and trick that I like to say when I'm using my AI, because if there's something that I want her to remember, I want her to continue to use it, not necessarily that I have to keep reminding her to use this document. And that would go for all of my prompts moving forward, right? So let's see. Can somebody give me a random grade level? Let's make this a little more interactive here. Someone give me a random grade level, anybody. I have a feeling it'll be Paolo. Let's see, can I see the Q&A from here? Or is it just because I'm sharing the screen? Okay, more Q&A. Okay, here we go. 4th grade. Okay, I see several 4th grade. So let's do 4th grade teacher. 4th grade teacher. Okay, and let me see. Any topic. This is for you guys. Any topic. Let's see. Religion, of course. Religion. Oh my goodness, typing in front of a lot of people. Religion. Sorry. How many ideas do you guys want to see? Can I make the image larger? I believe I can. Does that work better for you guys? Can you see a little bit more? Like that? Okay. 3 ideas. And do you have any, let me see. Okay, I saw some specific topics up here. Spiritual works of mercy. I love that. I'm going to use that. And let's just see what the output is. Okay. And let's see what she says. Just reading the entire document right now. Can you guys see this okay? Can you store the CCC with the free version? You know, I'm on the premium version for Kathy. This question's for Kathy. You may be able to upload. So for ChatGPT specifically, if you have the free version, it'll allow you a certain amount of uploads. And then once you get to a certain amount of storage, then for the rest of the day, it won't allow you to. So this is just an example. Does that answer your question, Kathy? Transubstantiation. I love that. All right, so let's take a look here. So here's a 4th grade friendly lesson plan that you can use, drawing directly from the catechism. So let's see lesson goals. Help students understand the spiritual works of mercy and how they can use them in daily life. So I'm going to leave this open here, and I'm going to let you guys read it for a second, and you guys can tell me, since you're all the experts, my religion teachers that are watching, how you like this lesson plan laid out. How are you guys feeling about these learning objectives? I really enjoy this mercy journal aspect, actually. Forgive and be patient. Allow each student to keep a simple journal for a week. Paolo, where did I get the PDF? I got the PDF straight from the USCCB. Me too, Jennifer. I like the journal. It kind of forces them to write and not type for a week, right? Let's see. So let's look at this ideal schedule. Day 1, you have 45 minutes, introduction, practicing mercy. Oh, I love this role playing. The learning objectives look good, says Tom. Very clear and engaging. So I just wanted to do this because I know that, we might be running low on time, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now. Because I wanted you guys to see that when you take control of the AI, it can give you some very helpful tips for your classroom. And just to see it in action too, right? So you guys can see, how did I upload the file? How did I type in the prompt? So these 10 prompts that we have, you can use them tomorrow if you want to. So let me go back here to prompt number 5. Let me see. Rachel, do you want to share? Or do you want me to go back to sharing? Oh,
Unmute. I was gonna say, you go ahead and keep sharing your prompts.
okay.
And I'll share after.
Okay, perfect. I've got you right here. Content only. All right. Oh, thank you, Katie. I'm glad that we're being helpful to you. So we've got some more prompts right here. Let's move on to the next one. So create a classroom debate activity for a certain grade level for students about a current social issue. Um, for example, I put some examples in there for you, using the principles of Catholic school teaching, and include guiding questions. So this can be used for any grade level, anywhere, anytime. So I'm going to run through these quickly because I really want to get to the AI tools. So then we have another one here. You guys can see, create a one-day lesson plan that weaves Catholic value into your subject. These include objectives like key activities and an opening prayer or reflection. Let me see. I'm seeing some questions popping up. Write 3 age-appropriate discussion questions for the grade level so that students can connect to today's topic, the Catholic principle of the common good. I love teaching on the common goods. I wanted to throw that one in there for you guys. Okay, let's see, we've got 2 more. Design an assignment. So this one is a little bit different, where it's not necessarily a lesson plan that you would build, but a take-home assignment for your students, right? So they can, get creative and they can write a short story, a poem, or, maybe give them ideas for a piece of art, showing how technology can be used to serve others and respect human dignity. I had to throw that one in there. I feel like there's a narrative going on around right now where we want to make sure that the creativity is coming from us and not the AI. But the AI can help students spark the creativity, right? So we can have them write a short story or a poem, and they can tweak it in a way that feels more like them. So that's why I kind of liked this prompt. And then we have one last one. So you can prepare a classroom activity that examines current news stories through the Catholic lens, social teaching. So offer a brief background summary and 2 to 3 guiding questions. So when I will send, like I said, all of these slides to Loretta, you guys will have all of these prompts at your disposal. And I also have my email at the end of this slide presentation, and we'll make sure that, if you have any questions and you want to ask me and Rachel questions afterwards, we're here to be a resource and help you with whatever you need. Okay, so I am going to let Rachel take over because she is the expert on AI tools.
Well, I'm gonna
She's
share, so the
Yes.
next chunk of what we wanted to talk about, and please keep putting stuff in the Q&A. My Q&A apparently disappeared and I can't get it back, so Mia is gonna have to be in charge of that.
I am okay with that.
Good. So I'll share my screen again, but hopefully you can see that. Okay, so what we wanted to do is talk a little bit about application. There are so many AI tools that you can use. I know one of the ones that came up already was Diffit, which we actually hadn't planned to share about, but I will say it is a cool tool. So it's worth just knowing about Diffit, which Diffit is kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen in News ELA, how you can take news articles and change the reading level of the news articles. Diffit is like that, where you can take any article, any school context. You could put the catechism that we have linked, and you could have Diffit give you that same link either as a in a different language or in a different lexile level. So it's pretty cool. So okay, but we are today going to talk about 2 different tools. The first is Canva, and I have some step-by-step directions in this slide, so when you get them, and hopefully you remember everything I said, but if not, you'll have these step-by-step directions to refer back to. So Canva has really upped their resources that they have for doing AI. Canva, I think a lot of people are familiar with using Canva. So in the chat, if you already use Canva, you can definitely comment like how you use Canva. But it has an entire magic pen and magic writing tool. So in a whole Canva AI option. So when you log into Canva, canva.com, one of the options is to go to Canva AI, and it will show you like all of the different resources that you can create with Canva AI. Something to know about Canva is that Canva is a free platform for educators. So you can get the premium version of Canva completely for free. So the tools that I'm showing you, some of them are premium versions, which you should have access to for free if you sign up with your school account. So just know that. Any questions, Mia, before I start digging in?
Oh, I've been answering everybody individually. Can you guys
Oh.
confirm if you're seeing them? Because I want Rachel to keep going. I know we're running low on time, but I really want to answer all of your questions. So I'm answering everyone in the chat there.
So okay, cool. So if there's like big picture questions, let me know. So
Okay, yes.
what I'm going to show you how to do first is how you can use Canva to write in your own tone of voice. So for example, let's say that I want to create Canva is like a resource tool that will let you design like a newsletter, class newsletter, you know, all sorts of stuff. But if I want it to be able to write in my tone of voice, I can do that. So what I'm going to do is I go and I click this little, I'm actually going to go back to home and I'm going to click the document. So I'm going to create a new document in Canva. And then from there, I am going to click the little, this is Magic Write up here. I'm going to click Magic Write by either clicking Magic Write here or clicking the little plus sign that appears here and then clicking Magic Write right there. Either one will get you there. I'm going to pause and I'll just show you those steps here on the slide. So you're going to click Document, click the little plus sign, and then click Magic Write so that that's where you're going, okay? If you're following along. So I'm going to go to Magic Write. And what you're going to see is that it will ask you, it's like, this is basically just like your ChatGPT prompter, right? So it's basically just going to ask you to describe like what you want to do. So I could say, you know, write a letter to my students as if you were, you know, a St. Augustine, right? And so like, so you could do that if you wanted to, but what you can also do is actually have it right in your tone of voice. And this gets a little weird, but I'm going to click right here where it says custom voice. Okay. Custom voice right here. And I'm going to create a new custom voice. Okay. I'm going to click plus, create a new custom voice. You'll see there's this little crown right here. That means that it's a premium version. So if you haven't connected your school account, it may not show up until you do. But just to go back, you're going to go to custom voice and then create a new voice. That's the steps here.
I have a Katie that's saying she cannot see her Magic Write for some reason.
Interesting. Okay, so you're not seeing Magic Write at all. I'm wondering, or if you're logged in your school account, you should, if you're going, it might also be, make sure when you go to your home page here that you've selected document. If you go to, if you select like an Instagram post, for example, it may not show you Magic Write as an option. So make sure you've gone to document. Those are two possible things that let us know if that fixes it. So I'm going to click create a new voice. And what this is going to do is now I'm going to type in some text of something that I have written. So I have a document here that I wrote about, that I wrote about my husband. So I'm going to copy and paste this document that's written in my tone of voice into my sample text. I want you to also note that it will recognize if you're using copyrighted language. So if you're just copying and pasting text from famous authors, it doesn't always flag it. Sometimes it will, and then it won't actually analyze your voice. Okay. Is there another question, Mia?
Yeah, I'm looking, it says Katie says that she's following your steps, but she still can't see it, and she is in her school account.
Okay, is Katie the only one that's having that problem, or are there other people that are having the same problem?
Paolo says, where is the custom voice? And then Katie says, it's okay, I can reach out later if anything.
Okay, it's
Okay.
fine. I'm gonna click analyze the voice, but I will see if, yeah, let me finish this and then I'm gonna see if there's, show you another way to access the voice.
Okay.
So it's gonna give me a description of my voice, and it tells me like my writing is conversational, it has anecdotal examples, all this, and I just click save. Once I click save, now it's going to ask me, it's going to have that as a custom voice that I can create for myself. Let me see. If I go to create a custom voice, I'm going to see if I go over here to create, if it will let me do that this way. No. Let me play with that and see if I can find another way for you to access custom voice.
I was letting them know, Rachel, that if the people that are having the issues, send me their email possibly, I'm thinking, I think I have a list of the attendees and I can make note. If you guys are having issues,
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to set up a call with you guys privately and we can work through it together, okay?
Yeah, for sure. You can also, once you've created your custom voices, you can analyze them, you can change them, you can add to them, you can edit it. But now I could say like, write a newsletter to parents of 3rd grade, letting them know about the activities of the week. We learned about adding multi-digit numbers. What was your favorite topic, Mia, that you said we learned about?
We did, I'll tell you right
The
now.
common good, right?
Yes, the common good.
The common good in our religion class. We learned about theme, or maybe main idea, whatever. And I'm going to click generate and then generate. And then we have a field trip coming up on October 15th. Okay, I'm going to generate that. Now it's going to, in my voice, share kind of, a newsletter about, right? Okay, so I'm going to insert it just so you can see. Parenting with a caffeine kick. You can change that. Oh, I got excited about that. It's going back, so let me go back. But so it will create it in my voice, and I'm gonna let it do its little thing. Sometimes it takes a while.
I love what Amy
Cool.
just
The
said.
other thing to know about
She
What does
says
it say?
she said I added my custom voice in my target language, French, and it responded to my prompt in French to describe my voice. I love that.
That's amazing. Yeah, so there is a whole Canva AI, and it will give you some suggestions of like what you could do. So if you go to the home page and you just go to Canva AI, there's other things it can do. Like for example, it can design a custom graphic for you. It can actually create videos for you, images. It can create, obviously, it can do more than just writing. If you do coding, I know some teachers teach coding, and it's wild because it's changing how teachers teach coding, because you do need to understand the basics of code, but now kids can do stuff so much faster because they can ask AI to do a lot of the coding pieces for them. So so you can have it create, like I created a 3D felt character animal concept, okay, this video, and it was like basically created like the character, right? They created character, but now I can say, I want to say like, have my character talk to me about the Catholic faith and the common good, right?
Yes.
Keep it consistent.
My favorite.
We'll see if it will do it still in the video. And we're gonna let that process, and I'm gonna show you the next tool, but I'm gonna let that process and then we'll see what it comes up with, okay? Videos take a while to process, so it can sometimes, obviously, because it's a ton of energy, which is another thing to know about AI is it does take a lot of energy to create these AI tools. So play around with Canva, and definitely, like Mia said, reach out to us. We'd happy to hop on a call or to walk you through. Make sure you've got the premium version of Canva. Even if you're signed in with your school account, make sure that you are signed in with school account and you have your premium version, because you don't want to miss out on some of those extra features that they have. So that would be, and the steps are kind of right here as well. So as you go through and you get these slides, you'll be able to see them. While that's generating, I also wanted to talk to you, because I know we're getting to the end of our time, about Notebook LM. This is a product of Gemini and Google, and it's another great resource for you. So to go to Notebook LM, what you're going to do is you're actually going to go to notebooklm.google.com is the website. And what Notebook LM does is it creates like basically a repository of multiple resources, and it's kind of creates your own little like mini brain for your ChatGPT, and then I'll show you some of the things it does. So what you'll do with Notebook LM is you'll log in and you'll create a new notebook, and it will ask you to upload sources. There's a bunch of ways you can do that. You can upload them from your computer. You can also bring them straight in from your Google Drive. You can bring them from your website, from YouTube, or just copy text. I'm going to click website because I'm going to paste some URLs in here. So Mia has shared with me the catechism. Let me see. And I actually might have closed that link. I don't know, Mia, do you have that link again?
Of course.
She has shared with me the catechism link, and I'll get that from the chat. And then I also have like our close by parish information. I live right by Ascension Oak Park, and I have the website for Ascension that I'm going to link in here too. And then let me get this chat from Mia. So, and we'll share the catechism chat from you as well. So, basically, I just put a space, or I put a line space between all of the links. So I could put as many links in here as I want. I can have multiple URLs. I could have like our school policies. I could have our school rules and procedures. Like I could have our churches. I could put in like bulletins from the church if I wanted to. So I'm going to click insert down here, and it's going to create a new notebook for me. It gives it a title, Catholic Living, Mission, and History. Love that. And you can always add sources. So if I start out with these two sources, but I want to add more, I can always go back and add more sources. Now, this is what it does. It creates a chat that's going to pull from these specific sources to give the answers. So say, for example, I have my school rules as what I uploaded. I could say, what would be a good policy for how students should behave in school? Okay. And it's going to pull from these documents to give me a response. A good policy for how students should behave in school, drawing on the moral framework and community values, will focus on fostering spiritual transformation, moral decision making, and active charity. And then it gives, it pulls actually from these resources to be able to see where it's getting those responses from. And you can continue to use this chat. You could even share this with like the school community. So if parents have questions, for example, about the school, it'd be like, great. You could also ask Notebook LM, for questions. You would share it up here. But the other really cool thing that it will do is you have this studio over here, and the studio will give you different overviews. And one of the really cool ones is the audio overview. This creates like basically a podcast that will give you a podcast of the catechism and the church. And it's pretty wild how accurate this podcast is and how it actually sounds like two people talking. So I know I have teachers that I work with that upload texts, from their textbooks or study notes from their entire like science unit that they just did, all of the study notes, all of the documents, all of the slides that they share with students. And then they have students listen to the audio overview as a prep for being able to prepare for their exam. So it's like, it's because we know that now students are taking in so much more information like from an auditory perspective, it'll create that for you. While we're waiting for that to generate, I know I feel a little bit like my kids, like, why isn't it happening instantaneously? And I have to remember that, it is doing a lot. It is doing a lot. Let's see if it created this video over here. Yes, it did. So hopefully, let me make sure I'm sharing my sound so you can see. On. Let's see if you can hear this.
As Catholics, we believe in the common good, ensuring everyone has what they need to flourish, working together for a just and caring
It
society.
is talking about the Catholic faith, and it's like a little cartoon. I think it's probably one of those things where it's not pulling from the right microphone. So I'll share this. I'll share the link for this with you all so you can listen to it later. But this is the video that I created for us. Now let's go back over to Notebook LM and see if we have an audio.
Rachel, that was so cute.
It's so cute, right? I love that little felt guy, and it's my favorite one. There's different.
I was
videos.
able to hear it. I could hear it.
You can hear it?
I could hear it. Did you guys hear it? Can you guys hear it? That or little video? Let me see. Yes. Okay, they did hear it.
Good. I couldn't
Yes.
hear it. I love that.
I love that.
As Catholics,
So
we
cute.
believe in the common good, ensuring everyone has what they need to flourish, working together for a just and caring society.
I think it's turning off the audio, or it's coming through a different speaker for me personally, but yes, so
So
you'll
cute.
see.
So cute.
Um,
I'm so glad.
That's great. So I'll let this audio summary. It might take a second because I know we're asking my computer to do a lot with me on the Zoom call, but you may have to trust me. One of the cool things that they also allow with the podcast that is worth knowing about is that it actually has a little speaker, and you can be an audience member who asks questions of the podcast host. You can be like, well, what about this? Well, what about that? And then the podcast host will respond to you as if you were like an audience member. Here we go. Let's see. Ready? Let's hit play.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we've got a really fascinating set of sources lined up. We're looking at how high-level Catholic doctrine, straight from the Catechism, actually connects with the practical, on-the-ground life of a specific parish.
Yeah, it's Ascension
So if I
and
hit
Saint Ed.
interactive, I can click to play audience, and then I would hit join.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we've got a really fascinating set of sources lined up. We're looking at how... oh, wait. Someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
What would you say to someone who doesn't have a background in Catholic faith about why they should attend the school? Hold on. Let's see. What would you say to someone who doesn't have a background in Catholic faith about why they should attend this school?
That is a wonderful question
We absolutely love that you asked that.
because that is exactly why we want to bridge this gap.
Okay, let's unpack this for someone new.
When we talk about
So I
Catholic,
know we're low on time, and I actually can't hear the audio, so I hope it wasn't totally ridiculous.
I can hear it. Can you guys hear it too? Is that Father Mike Schmitz? Dora, stop. You actually made me laugh out loud. That's hilarious. It does kind of sound like Father Mike Schmitz. Okay, but everybody can hear, so that's good.
Good.
Amy has a question. She says, if we add items in the chat, once we've created a note, do we need to add or pin those to the note? Or are the chat items automatically added to the note?
Like in this middle chat area, I think is the question. It will automatically be, so if you want to save it, yes, you'll click save to note, and then it will pin that to the note, and it should keep it for you. So I hope I answered that question. So that it will pin that note like over here. So you'll see it in your studio. Now you have a note that has that response that you can return to, or you could even, convert. There's
So
other
I
cool
have
things
another-
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, is that Paulo says, are the dialogues saved? And what if a student is using it? Can they lead the LM conversation down a bad path?
Yeah, they should be able to save it, and it will show up as one of the notes over here. So they should be able to come back to that podcast and be able to save it. You can share, like if you had the podcast, even with your responses, you can share that with people within your domain. and share that podcast with them, or even outside of your domain. But you can like click anyone with the link could be able to see, just like on Google, anyone with the link could hear your podcast. So let's look at this. Yeah. So then it created like, it will also create like mind maps for you. So if you wanted to like dig into the content, but mind map, visually, you could talk and like walk and, like, and it will create detailed mind maps of all of the resources in here too, which is super cool. There's a
was
video
actually super.
overview.
Oh, sorry, Rachel.
Oh, go
I was
ahead.
gonna
Yeah,
say
no,
I was excited when I saw the little mind map. I knew we were going to audio overview because Notebook LM is super popular right now to make little podcasts, so it's easier for students to just listen in on the subject. But I'm a sucker for mind maps and I always have been, and I don't know if any of my teachers want to comment if they also love a good mind map, but I was hoping that Rachel would get to there because I love a good mind map.
It's amazing. Well, I think that mind maps are so great for visual learners, like, and to like, because a lot of times I'll be like, okay, where does this fit? Like, it's really interesting information of what's kind of like the overarching, idea here. And so the mind map's so helpful for that. You can do flashcards. So if you are using this as a study guide, you could have flashcards for the study guide. There is a video overview, which I haven't played with that much just because it takes a long time to load because it's a video. But and then quizzes, you can have it like create a quiz. So again, as a resource for people to study, it's a pretty amazing tool. Now, another cool thing to know is that over here in the sources, you can always edit those sources. So if I just wanted responses, but without, for example, the information about Ascension School, I could just uncheck it. It doesn't mean the source isn't still there for me to check again, but I can always like mix and match what sources I want to pull from. And if you hit discover, it's going to also, you can have basically AI look for other resources that are similar to the ones that you've shared to add, and you can choose whether or not you want to add them. I know we're like at the end of our time and past it, so I'm sorry, but hopefully those two, like being, just seeing a little bit from Canva and a little bit from Notebook LM is helpful for you to know that like you can use the AI tools in ways that are still reflective of your Catholic faith and of your own beliefs. And I still agree that I think it was Andrea who was saying, I don't know if I can trust this. I agree. I think you
Right.
shouldn't trust any of it, right? Like, I think you should always be skeptical. I think that's our job as educators and as a people of faith, is to come at things with questions and, with thoughtfulness. And so I think, but what I think is helpful to know is that we can also make the tools work for us, that it doesn't have to be something we're scared of or think that we're in opposition to. It can actually be something that can be an incredible resource, and it can open up like a catechism that may not be accessible to a high school student who isn't reading at grade level. All of a sudden, something like this makes that available to them so that they can feel much more engaged in their own faith and in their own belief system. So it is a really powerful tool in that way. Okay, so the steps for how to do Notebook LM are definitely in there, and we'll again make sure that you get access to this. But any final questions before we close things up with prizes?
Yes, prizes. We love prizes.
We love prizes.
And see, I'm trying to open up the where did my Q&A go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Amy says, FYI, in Notes audio overview will also create the podcast dialogue in many languages. There is a drop-down list of languages. Thank you so much. God bless. Oh, God bless you too, Amy. We're so happy
That's
that you
amazing.
came. And that's really good to know. I'm gonna put that in our speaker notes here, so that when we send this out to you guys, you can also keep that in mind. Thank you so much, Amy. That was awesome. Yes, Jennifer, we are going to share all of this information with you guys, of course. I am all about sharing the good, so I would never keep all of this to ourselves. Never, 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 never. Okay, let's see here.
Can I get free access to the advanced Canva? I'm not a teacher, but if you're an administrator and you still have access, you have an email access to a school account, like you'll probably need a school account. But usually even like at least in most of the schools that I work with, the church and the school have the same domain or a similar domain. You should still be able to get the admin account for that. And what I can do also is put an extra, I'll just put an extra in the slides that we're sharing with you. I'll put extra steps of how to connect your account to the premium education account. That way, you'll make sure that you have that premium account so you have access to all the extra features. Just I'm okay. So it would just depend. Leslie is asking about your account. It would just depend on how your diocese account is set up. If it's an educator account, then if it it's recognized as an educator or not. If not, it's a $10 a month charge for the premium, which is what I pay since I work for Samsung and not a school. If you're doing stuff for school, you can always see if the school could create a school account for you just for Canva. Yeah, we could talk about Canva for another hour, but there are a lot of really rich resources there.
Yes.
Okay, thank you
100%.
so
Okay,
much.
you guys are awesome.
You are awesome. Thank you, Paulo. Yeah. Oh yeah, an AI tutor, basically this does kind of create something similar to what Khan Academy is, which is Khan is pretty amazing as well. So another great resource to check out. There's so many good resources, so many great tech resources, I agree. But we should have access to all of these, ideally every student would have access to these resources. All right, I'm gonna let Mia do prizes. So Mia, do you want to talk about what prizes we've got?
Yes, we've got prizes for you guys today. So here's what's going to happen. We picked one at random from every single person who registered to this webinar today. So what's going to happen is I also know that sometimes you don't register, but you come, you're really engaging and you really want to be a part of the whole party that we're doing here. And I want you guys to know that Archangel is super grateful for every single one of you guys being here, and Samsung too. We're great partners, but we're also great partners with NCEA. And I keep saying this, we want to share the good. So we've come up with a cute little gift box. We're probably going to give out a couple, but for the random that we chose before the webinar started is, drum roll, we have a Sister Mary Ann. I don't know if she's participating right now. Ooh, is she here? If not, I have the attendees list, so I will email you guys directly to get your information. And then here's the thing. My team is making another special box just for everybody, that was here. And we're going to choose that at random too. But I have one question for you guys. Are you guys willing to keep your emails open and be on the lookout if we send some gifts out? Can you guys do that for us? To anybody that's left. Yes, please. Okay, cool. Okay,
yes. They're like, yeah,
me
free stuff for sure. We're educators. Come on.
that makes me super happy. Okay, so Sister Marianne, if you're here, congratulations. Thank you for registering. We're super, super happy. And for the rest of you guys, I have another super special secret gift that's coming your way. Just keep in touch with your emails. If not, I will make sure that all of these resources get to NCEA and every single one of you so that we can all share the good together. I just lastly want to reiterate, this is what Technology with Soul really means to Archangel. It's giving you guys these practical tools and having that human conversation. Even though the AI is here, it doesn't take away from us. So I know that my heart was really warm just seeing everybody in the Q&A just talking and being so kind and amazing. So I really hope that we get to see you at our next webinar. And I hope you guys have a wonderful and blessed day, and you guys will hear from me soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for attending today's webinar. NCEA continuously strives to improve the quality of our services for members, and it is all based on your feedback. We will use your feedback to inform future work and improve services. The survey that I've just placed in the chat will only take about 5 minutes to complete. If you're interested in a certificate of attendance, please be sure to include your email address and name at the end of the survey, since the certificate will be sent via an automated email. Please be sure to check your spam if you do not see the email within a few minutes. Thank you again so much, Rachel and Mia. This was a wonderful webinar, and please stay tuned for more information.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
great
you
day,
so
everyone.
much.
Well,
Have a blessed day, guys.
bye.